Wondering what this whole vegan thing is all about? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you why so many people are committing to a vegan diet. And if you watch to the end, I'll tell you why I'm choosing to commit to a vegan diet. It might surprise you. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. This is Trent from xFit. If you're new to this channel, you might want to consider subscribing so you can be notified when all the new content comes out each week. Alright, let's get started here. This is a topic I'm kind of passionate about. But first, I want to clear something up. I'm a judgment-free zone. As a personal trainer and certified fitness instructor, I write diet guides and diet plans for people so I can help them get the best results eating the healthy foods that they want. Not everybody chooses to be vegan, so I write diet guides for people who want to commit to keto, or Atkins, or vegetarian, or vegan, or high carb, whatever it is. It has nothing to do with me. What I eat has to do with me. So, getting that out of the way, veganism has been around for years and years and years, but just recently it's kind of been getting a lot of popularity and sort of exploding. Off the top of my head, there are two documentaries that have been resurfaced. And I think a lot of people have watched these, and it kind of opened up their eyes to the idea of coexisting with animals, compassion for animals. I've watched a lot of documentaries. However, personally, that's not quite what moved me to make the decision to commit to a 100% vegan diet. But the first documentary came out years ago and has since resurfaced and gained some more momentum and popularity. This was called Earthlings. Earthlings talked about how we coexist and use animals in 3 different ways. We use animals for food, entertainment, and companionship. The first segment in this documentary, they talked about the harsh conditions in chicken farms and pig farms and slaughterhouses, kosher slaughterhouses. And they would have screenshots and footage, of all the cows in their little cages who don't see sunlight and are harvested for their whole lives to become meat, and then they're slaughtered. It turned a lot of people's stomachs. Watching footage from a slaughterhouse is kind of brutal. Another part of the documentary, they talked about how we use animals for entertainment. And they talked about the conditions of circuses and zoos, and how humans take animals out of their natural environment, put them in captivity, and use them for entertainment. They also talk about places like SeaWorld and the living conditions for aquatic life. And behind the scenes, guests that attend these places don't necessarily understand and realize how brutal those places can be. So once the information surfaced and became public, a lot of people got the idea that they didn't want to support that. So they chose to not interfere with animals' lives. And they chose to not eat meat and not support it by becoming vegan. The next part of that documentary, they spoke about using animals for companions. And they talked about pets, how we keep fish in tanks, and we have cats and dogs and lizards and snakes. Again, taking animals out of their natural environment and domesticating them and changing the dynamic of certain animals and using them, for help. And not all of this stuff is bad. I mean, there's seeing eye dogs and guard dogs, but there's also parts of the documentary where they talk about they use dogs for dog fighting. So all in all, the documentary Earthlings spoke about the relationships that we have with animals and how a lot of times it's a lot more brutal than what is really being shown to the public. Another documentary is called What the Health. This came out just a little while ago, maybe a year or two, and it gained a lot of momentum and a lot of publicity. This one was really neat. They spoke about direct links to certain ailments that people have in regard to eating meat and animal products. Like, they would interview a few people who were diagnosed with, in some cases, terminal diseases, certain cancers like testicular cancer or breast cancer, throat cancer, skin cancer. Some of the people they interviewed had different stages of diabetes. And what they were conveying here was the idea of the medication that is prescribed and the corruptness in the pharmaceutical world. And they spoke about how money is really ruling everything. Beyond the pharmaceuticals, beyond the doctors, all that stuff is being funded by banks. And there's really one parent company to all of this. And in the middle of that is the marketing. And they spoke about how meat processing plants and packaging plants are marketed to be healthy and nutritious for us to consume meat. But then when we get sick, we go to the doctor and we get prescribed medication. Now what they talked about was the medications for certain cancers and diabetes, asthma, or depression and stuff like that is really to kind of get along with our ailments and not necessarily fixing them or curing them. In this documentary, they interviewed the same people towards the end of it who committed to a vegan diet, cut out all meat and dairy and animal products. This one woman in particular, in the beginning, she had a walker and she had an inhaler and she had bottles and bottles of antidepressants, stomach medication, skin medication. She had a whole table full of medicines that she was prescribed that she would take each day. And some of the medicines were to combat the side effects of other medicines that she was prescribed to take. By the end of the documentary, they interviewed these same people, and the one woman who stood out to me, by the few weeks of committing to a vegan diet, she no longer used her walker. She didn't have an inhaler. She didn't need any of the antidepressants that were prescribed to her. All of the medications that she's been accumulating and paying for, she didn't need. Her body was healing itself. Her body was allowing it to genuinely do what it's meant to do and not be bogged down with nitrates and hormone-enhanced meats. So watching these documentaries, it was moving, but that didn't quite do it for me. I continued to eat meat even after I saw these. It did open up my eyes a little bit. There was one segment at the end of What the Health where there were these trainers and acrobats who commit to a vegan diet, and they were completely built. Now for me, that stood out. One of the bodybuilders, who was a vegan bodybuilder, said, it doesn't matter how you look on the outside and how strong you are, because if you're dying on the inside, that's not strength, that's weak. Now when he said that, it really resonated with me. It made me sort of want to reevaluate what I was putting into my body. As a fitness coach and fitness instructor, I want to be as healthy as I can be. I was taught that high amounts of protein were what I needed to gain muscle and burn fat, and I can find that in meat. So making the decision to commit to a vegan diet, I had to research all of this stuff for about a month before I finally made the commitment. My initial reaction was, if I commit to a vegan diet and I start to lose my muscle, I start to lose my gains, not for me, I don't want to do it. I had this misconception or this idea of a vegan stereotype, like a skinny, frail, malnourished dude would be a vegan in my mind. But that's far from the truth. There are plenty of skinny, malnourished, frail men and women who choose to eat meat. It's all in the nutrition, and I don't really think it matters if you eat meat or not. But that's just my belief. Since I made the transition and became 100% vegan, I haven't lost tons of muscle. I've gained muscle. I've lost fat. I'm in the best shape of my life. I've been to the doctor and I'm as strong as an ox. I'm completely healthy. There are ways to research the nutrition that you need. There's a lot of people that are, vegan naysayers on how it's, vitamin deficiency vegan lifestyle. The truth is we can get all the vitamins we need from plant-based products. Like, I admit, there are some things, like vitamin B12 for example. I have a lot of vitamin B12, but I get it in a little can, and I take vitamin pill supplements. I have to supplement with some of that stuff. The point is, there's ways around it. You can commit to a vegan diet and still get all the nutrition that you need. You can commit to a vegan diet and get as muscly and as toned and as shredded, and you can achieve any goal you want while committing to a vegan diet. There's no doubt about it, because I am proof. There's many other people that are proof of this. The reason why I chose to commit to a vegan diet, you might think it's a little strange, so stick with me here. After having, I would like to call it a spiritual awakening, or I can call it a shift in consciousness, if you will, just about a year ago, I came to understand that everything in physical reality is energy. The device that you're watching this video on, the seat that you're sitting in, your car, the birds, the trees, the bees, the air you breathe, you, everything is energy. The same energy, vibrating at different frequencies. Don't lose me here. Kind of like ice is water, also vapor is the same. It's just vibrating at a different frequency. The idea here is that everything is energy, including your thoughts. Your thought energy is just as potent, if not more, than the other energies that are all around us all the time, but we cannot perceive it because we are not vibrating or aligned with it. There's a lot of energy around that we can't perceive, like UV rays from the sun, or electromagnetic energy, magnetic energy. They're all around us all the time, but we can't see them, and they affect you. UV rays from the sun do affect you, but you can't see them. So when you have a thought, it creates a chemical inside of your body. I'm sure you've heard, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This is kind of the same thing there. When you have an anxious thought, you might feel it in your stomach, or your chest, or your throat. When you feel happy or sad, you might smile or giggle. When you feel sad, when you have a sad memory or a sad thought, you might start to cry. The chemicals that your thoughts create change your body's molecular structure. Your thoughts actually work outside of your body as well, and they create your reality. So, again, don't lose me here. All beings of creation have thoughts and beliefs, and they're all creative. So the idea here is that when there are loads of chickens inside a chicken farm being harvested and ready to be slaughtered, what do you think they're thinking? Fear, anxiety, confusion, sadness? That's what these animals in these slaughterhouses and these pig farms and chicken farms are experiencing. And those emotions, those feelings, are being absorbed by their bodies, by their meat, and then they're slaughtered and it's packaged up and it goes to the store, and then I buy it and I eat it and I take it on. We all do. There's a continuous flow. It's like a cosmic dance that the whole physical reality is intimately involved in, and we just can't necessarily perceive it if we're not aligned to it. After having a shift in consciousness, I was able to understand that we take on those negative beliefs, and that's just not something I want to do. It's as simple as that. So my idea to be completely vegan doesn't necessarily have to do with, compassion. Well, I mean, it does, but it's not like I'm an activist where I go stand in front of bulldozers or something, or if I experience somebody who doesn't commit to a vegan diet, I don't have any judgment. I'm indifferent completely. There are things that I don't eat. I mean, I don't eat cake, and I don't eat sweets, and I don't eat junk food. I choose to not eat meat because they don't make me feel the way I want to feel. Feel me? What I would like to convey is you really have to check it out for yourself. So if you have this idea that being vegan isn't healthy, try it for yourself and see how you feel. See if you are healthy or not. I understand everything is different for everybody. But for me, I feel great. I feel better than I ever have. And I didn't know that I felt bad until I stopped the things that were making me feel bad. I made a video just last week about gluten and wheat and celiac. Now, I don't have celiac, but I don't eat wheat and I don't eat gluten, and I feel great. I feel better than I did before I made the commitment to stop eating that stuff, because I didn't know how it was affecting me. So, I didn't know how negative beliefs from animals were affecting me until I cut them out. Now, I'm not trying to say that meat is bad or consuming animals is bad at all. Shamans years and years ago chose to eat meat because there are bonding properties and there are grounding properties. By consuming meat, we are becoming one with nature, and nature is becoming one with us. It is sort of wrapping our minds and bodies around the spirit of Earth and becoming one with Earth, which is great. Now, what I want to say too is, I could eat meat next week. I don't know, I can't predict the future. Judging by the energy now, it's highly improbable that I'm going to eat meat next week. But that's just the way that it is. This is just the path that I'm on. And for you to truly make a decision or a judgment if being vegan is good or bad or healthy or unhealthy, or if meat is good or bad or unhealthy, you really need to try it out for yourself and see how you feel. That is the only way you're going to truly understand what it's like. Now, I understand if you're in the fitness world and you acknowledge the idea that, we need a lot of protein, carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, complete proteins. There are supplements that I take, vegan of course. There's a protein that I choose to utilize called Garden of Life. It's a plant-based protein. I put that in my soy milk and I have that instead of my whey. I just made a little bit of adjustments and I'm able to eat completely vegan and still be very strong and get all the gains that I want and reach my goals. And you can too. I'll put a link in the description for the protein that I choose, that I think tastes great and is completely plant-based, if you're interested. So again, looking good how you look, absolutely can be done with plants.